VoiceAmericaHealth.com. The Voice America Talk Radio Network is the worldwide leader in live Internet talk radio. Visit VoiceAmerica.com. The views and ideas expressed on the following program are strictly those of the host or guests and do not necessarily reflect the views and ideas held by the Voice America Talk Radio Network, its staff, and management. When you hear so many different ideas about good health, how do you separate the myths from the facts? Welcome to Healthy View Radio with your trio of co-hosts, Andrea Beaman, Lewtan, and Michelle Pfennighaus. Today, you'll learn what it takes to be healthy and happy within a stressful world from three experts walking their talk. Here is Lisa, Andrea, and Michelle.
Hello, all of you fabulous people who we love to hang out with every Thursday at noon. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Healthy View Radio with me, Andrea Beaman, and my two awesome co-hosts, Lisa Lewtan and Michelle Pfennighaus. Today, we're going to be talking about healthy cooking hacks. And for those of you that grew up in the 1970s like me, you may be thinking, I thought a hack was an unlicensed cab driver. What is when I said it to my husband, I said to him the other day, I go, what's this whole business about this hack thing? And he goes, oh yeah, it's a shortcut. It's a quick solution. I'm like, no, it's an unlicensed cab driver. That's what a hack is. So as you can see, the terminology has changed. So today we're going to be giving you shortcuts in the kitchen to make healthy cooking both delicious and doable. Because a lot of people are like, I'm not getting in the kitchen. You got to be kidding me. 5 hours, 4 hours, 20 minutes they don't want to spend in the kitchen. So we're going to give you guys hacks about the kitchen. But before we start hacking away, I'd like to shout out to our sponsor, Four Sigmatic, especially their sleep formula. For those of you that are on Facebook and you can see this little sleep formula, I gave it to my husband 3 nights in a row, and 3 nights in a row he slept better. So this sleep blend contains reishi, which is an adaptogenic herb, ashwagandha for stress reduction, magnesium, muscle relaxation, tryptophan for sleep quality, and theanine for calming, and it worked for him. So if you would like to get a good night's sleep, then go to foursigmatic.com/HVR to save 15% and get your better sleep brew today, little sugars. Okay, it's time to start hacking. So ladies, we all know that food can be used as medicine. And one of our guests that's coming up in our second segment today, Christina Pirello, has certainly used food as medicine to heal terminal cancer. But who has time to get into the kitchen and cook delicious, balanced, healing meals? So I would like you to share your expertise with our hungry audience. One hack that you do to make your time in the kitchen a little bit easier.
Okay, well, I'm going to go first because Michelle is an amazing cook and I'm not. So I'm just going to put it out there for all of you who are intimidated by this conversation. For me, the biggest thing is just prep. And I wash and prep a ton of veggies and put them into my little glass Tupperwares in the fridge. And then if I want a salad, I go boom, boom, boom. Or if I want to stir fry, boom, boom, boom. Or a smoothie, boom, boom, boom. It's all ready to go. So when I go to make something, I don't have to think about it. I have everything ready right there.
And I like the sound effects that go with those meals. Boom, boom, boom. You open up the little container. Boom, boom, boom. There's a stir fry. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. It's just easy. It has to be easy. It has to be quick, no fuss. And it works. It works for me really well.
Very nice. Michelle, what do you got, sugar?
All right. Well, I'm going to tack on to yours, Lisa, because for prepping, I find dark leafy green vegetables are really intimidating for folks because you have to individually wash and dry every darn leaf that comes in that head of kale and then chop each one. Here's what I do. I take the whole thing, I run it under the water all together. Then I put the whole bunch of kale on the cutting board, or it could be bok choy, or it could be dandelion greens, whatever it is, on the cutting board at once. Take my big old kitchen knife and wham, 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 wham. I just go cut through the whole head at the same time. It's done in about 30 seconds. You use what you're going to use. You put the rest in a Tupperware or whatever and throw it in the fridge. That way it's all chopped up and ready to go for you to boom, boom, boom later.
I like this. You're wham, wham, whamming. She's boom, boom, booming.
What are you doing?
Well, I'm doing the cha-cha in the kitchen while you guys are whamming and booming.
I got the maracas.
Oh, he's got maracas. Yeah, that's good. That's our sound engineer. He probably never, ever gets into the kitchen for real, like opens a Twinkie bag or something like that. We know what you eat, A-Rod. So
that's all right. We got more ideas to get A-Rod cooking as well as everybody else listening today. So here's my very, very, very most favorite kitchen hack. It's something I just started doing maybe a year ago, and I do it almost every single week, because when you want something to boom, boom, boom out of the fridge, right? You have to cook that something, or it has to be something that you buy already cooked. So, you know how some people will go to the supermarket and buy one of those rotisserie chickens and bring it home. And that's good because, you know, you can feed yourself some real food real fast. You can save the little bits and pieces. You can pick off the bones to make chicken salad. You can take the bones. You can make some stock. That's fine. But I find it less expensive, even easier, and I can get a better quality chicken into my diet if I buy a bird and then you take the chicken a naked chicken, just throw it in your crock pot.
Food porn for real.
It is sexy. You can throw it in the crock pot, nothing else. I am telling you, a naked chicken in the crock pot, turn it on low, 8 hours, overnight, whatever. You end up with really, really juicy meat that just falls off the bone. So you don't have to be carving into the chicken or anything like that. And you can use it for whatever you need. I make like 3 dinners out of the meat, make chicken burritos, make chicken this, that, and the other thing. And then you just put the bones right back into the slow cooker. You don't even have to wash it in between. Add the water, add an onion, and make broth.
Wait, back up. Do you wash the chicken or you just throw it right in there?
I throw it right in there. The only thing I do is remove the bag of giblets. If you buy from the supermarket, or you buy from somewhere that they're putting the giblets on the inside, take that out. You don't want to slow cook the plastic or the paper or whatever's holding those together. Take that out, set it on the side. You can use that with your broth later, put it in the refrigerator, and then just the chicken all by itself. If you want to be fancy, you can put other things in there, salt, pepper, seasonings, onion, but I usually don't. I just throw the chicken in. It takes 30 seconds. And then the next morning or at the end of the day, boom, chicken's waiting.
So you're one of the lucky folks that actually still gets giblets and everything and livers inside your chicken, because they started removing those because they found they could make more money with them externally, right? So you're getting a chicken that comes with the whole kit and caboodle.
It depends where I buy it. Actually, if I buy my best chickens that come from a biodynamic farm in Pennsylvania, those don't come with the giblets. They do sell all the organs separately, but if they're in there, you got to remember to pop them out before you melt the bag inside your slow cooker. But I got to tell you, that is such a great kitchen hack right there, because you've meat ready for whatever meal you need it for, and it is literally no work at all, and you save money.
Yeah, I highly recommend that people do get a slow cooker, especially in the wintertime. You just throw everything in the pot and go. But I want to get back to greens, because you talked about the wham, 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 and the green, the washing every single thing. When I was first studying macrobiotics, one leaf had to be cleaned at a time, and you had to rub it in the right direction, and right, all this craziness, and that was just too. It was too rigid. So when there's rigidity like that, there's this stress that comes with the food, and you don't want that in your food. So like when I make my greens, I do exactly what you do. And I love greens. I love them. But I'll wash the whole thing, and I don't scrub them to death, because I want the bacteria that's actually on the greens. I want that bacteria in my body. I don't want it to be completely gone. Like, we are over cleansed and over scrubbed in our society. And it's one of the reasons why our autoimmune conditions are all the way flaring all over the place. So you want to have some of that dirt, so to speak. And one of the things that they do in restaurants to make food, vegetables specifically, taste delicious is they will blanch the vegetables in hot salted water, and then they'll put them in an ice bath. So I don't do that, and I don't expect any home chef to do that. But what I do when I'm making my greens to make them delicious is I get a frying pan. I put in maybe like a quarter inch of water in the bottom, little bit of salt, throw my greens in, let them cook with the cover on so that they steam for like 3 minutes and get until the water is gone. And then in the same pan, so that I don't have to do 2 things and have an ice bath and do all that crap, I put the olive oil and a little bit of salt right on that. I toss it. Boom, it's done.
Yum.
Oh, it's totally delicious.
anything for fewer dishes, right?
Totally, because who wants a sink that's 18 feet high piled up with all this stuff? Use the same pots. Don't take it from here and put it in there and then go over that way. It'll drive you insane.
I love what you just said, how you steam it in the water and then you add the olive oil, because there's confusion about cooking in olive oil rather than using it after the fact. And I think that's such a great way to cook.
Yeah, and if you take your greens and you put them in a hot pan with olive oil, guess what? They're going to tighten. Right. So you're going to get, have you ever had those greens where you just chew on them for an hour and they're still not breaking down? So you want the water to actually soften that cellulose fiber and open it up. And then you put your olive oil on there, instead of like trying to saute a collard green, or saute some kale in the olive oil itself. It's going to tighten up. It's going to get not good on the palate. And you're going to be like, healthy food stinks. This is awful. Right.
Yeah.
And we want people to like food.
Yeah, those olive oils taste so good, like the really good ones.
My God, they taste like grass.
Grass? I don't know.
Yes.
Is that your idea of a good taste, Andrea?
Yes, they have this earthy, grassy flavor, like a really good olive oil. I'm telling you, it tastes like grass. I don't know why.
I think they taste like olives.
They taste different. I joined an olive oil of the month club, and I literally I'm obsessed now with which olive oil is the right olive oil. Of course, I forget because I throw away the bottle when I'm done. But a good olive oil is so good. And I don't know if it smells like grass or olives, but it's very, very rich smelling. Really.
And fragrant, right? It's just wonderful. So what's another hack that you guys do? Like you do the crock pot, you do the whacking and the whamming and the zooming and the zinging. Go ahead.
I don't peel anything. And I learned about this concept of not having to peel things like carrots when I was learning about macrobiotics, because you want to eat the whole food. You want to eat the whole food with all of its edible parts. Now, you can't really eat a banana peel, although you can make tea out of it, as we discussed a couple episodes ago. But, certain peels you do have to cut away or peel away. But the skin of a carrot, you know how much time you save? There's no reason to peel that off, and it's good for you to keep it on. Now, it doesn't look quite as picture perfect, but who cares? We're not shooting pictures for a magazine over here. We're having dinner. So the same thing applies to things like butternut squash. Everybody is amazed that you don't actually have to peel winter squash like a pumpkin or acorn squash. If you cook it long enough, it's going to soften. You can bite right through the skin like you would bite through the skin of an apple. Do you guys do that?
Oh, totally. I leave the skins on everything. The only reason why I would take a skin off is for aesthetic purposes, and they'll do that in the cooking schools and the French Culinary Institute. Everything gets peeled so that it looks pretty. And I understand that aesthetically you want the food to look appealing, but just because it has a peel from a peel, A-P-E-E-L, can still be a P-E-A-L, ing, right? So for me, I like the peels. I like the skin. And again, on that skin is specific bacteria that has, this is in the earth, right? It's attached to the earth. And people are going out and they're buying soil bacteria for their gut and all this other, it's on the food that's coming in from the farm or wherever it's coming from.
Remember one of our guests, I think it was Dr. Kenn Brown, who talked about the vitamins and minerals in the peels, and how that was going to be the next big thing that we're going to be seeking, are all those vitamins. So this is great info. Everybody, start eating your peels.
Oh my gosh, right. Then you'll go to Whole Foods and you'll find a pre-done bag of just the peels from the potato, and it'll cost $8.99 a pound.
That's right.
We're selling those along with our banana tea, that we were going to start selling.
I'm surprised I haven't seen that on the shelf yet. It's coming though. Within the next few weeks, I'm sure that banana tea is coming.
And yes, a lot of peels as well.
A lot of the things, I think this is just home cooking, has evolved to the point that we're getting all of our food pre-chopped and delivered, if we're cooking at all. But, back in the day when food wasn't as plentiful, it's important to make really good use of all the parts, right? So you're going to eat the peels. If you're not eating them, maybe you're peeling them off, but you're going to save them. You're going to make broth with those peels. If you're cutting off the top of your celery or the heart of the celery, save that. Again, you can make broth with that. You can flavor things with the peels, so you can really make better use of all of the ingredients.
And that goes for the stems too. Like I used to take the kale leaves off and throw away the stems. And then I was like, what am I doing? So now I chop them up and put them in a little jar and I throw them into soups or stews or anything else, or even scrambled eggs, just to get a little bit more in there.
Yeah. And I also save all my peels and little bits and ends, and I put them into a freezer bag and I put them right in the freezer. And then when I'm ready to make stock, I don't have to chop anything. I just take my bones that are also in the freezer, I take the bones, I take the peels and all that stuff, and I throw that in as well. And it's like so quick. You know, people are like, oh, it takes so much time. I'm like, no, you open up a little baggie that's in the freezer, and you put it into the crock pot and you're done.
That's all it takes.
Yeah. So we got lots of hacks. You know, we got lots of things that we can do. And today we have with us one of my most favorite people on the planet. Now, there's a lot of people on the planet, right? What do we got? How many billions? Anybody know? You got a roundabout? Yeah. Okay. So she's one of my favorites.
That's saying a lot.
That's saying a lot, right? Her name is Christina Pirello, and she is the host of the internationally respected TV show, Christina Cooks. She is one of America's preeminent authorities on a healthier lifestyle utilizing natural and whole foods. And when she was 26 years old, 26, she was diagnosed with terminal leukemia. By the time her illness was identified, the cancer had advanced to an acute stage. Her doctors gave her little chance of recovery. She was told she had only months to live and to prepare herself for the inevitable death that was surely coming. And thankfully, she met a man named Robert Pirello, who changed her life. Robert helped Christina change her lifestyle and diet based on whole and unprocessed foods, and that literally saved her life. Christina overcame the odds, and today, almost 30 years later, 30 years after her illness, she is a glowing example and inspiration about the power of food and its impact on our health and well-being. And I had the pleasure of meeting Christina about 22 years ago when I was first starting my own healing journey. And at that time, I was eating a strict macrobiotic diet. It was all rice and grains and beans and Hiziki seaweed. And it was pretty bland and very brown. But one year I attended a macrobiotic summer conference, and there was this vivacious, bubbly, redheaded cooking teacher. And she was using garlic and olive oil, and she deep fried tempeh and tofu, and she used peppers and tomatoes. And all of a sudden, my taste buds woke up and I said, oh my God, there is flavor here. And the clouds parted and the angels began singing hallelujah. And my plate lit up with sunshine, and it was delicious and vibrant, just like her. And her cooking transformed my understanding of using food as medicine. So we're going to have to take a short break, but when we come back, you're going to meet Christina and you're going to fall in love with her. And before we go to break, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Giovanni Cosmetics, for their awesome eco chic products. Just like it's good to be conscious about what you put into your body, the same thing applies to your beautiful head of hair. Use the best products. And you could find Giovanni Cosmetics at Sprouts, Kroger, or Whole Foods. Go to giovannicosmetics.com/HVR to grab your $2 coupon. And we will be right back after these messages with Christina Pirello.
All clear.
Grazie. Mille grazie.
You got about a minute, and then I'll patch you in.
Okay.
Awesome. Facebook, we know we are still live and hanging out with you. By the way, if you have healthy cooking hacks of your own, go ahead and put them in the comments because we want to learn some new tricks too.
Absolutely.
Christina, you with us?
I am.
You're connected.
Hi, little cutie.
Hi, sweetie. How are you?
I'm good. We're on Facebook now, so we're on the back end. So they can't hear you on the radio show, but in Facebook, they can hear you.
Okay. I'll be good.
Oh, you know you won't.
Hi, Christina. I'm Lisa. I'm going to be interviewing you today.
Hi. Nice to meet you, I guess. I don't know. It's like weird how we meet people now. So it's like,
yeah.
nice to meet you.
Well, if you're one of Andrea's favorite people in the entire planet, I am.
I know. I just heard that. It's like, wow. Okay. But she's one of mine too. So it's kind of mutual.
You made food delicious again, Christina. So how can I not love you? How can I not love you?
Seriously. How can we not love anybody who makes food delicious again? I mean, it's just, I don't know. I'm just writing a tirade of a blog as we speak
20
about
seconds.
What's going on with food. I was watching TV the other night, and I said to my husband, I'm watching a commercial, I'm like, oh my God, it's like they're trying to kill us. There's your next blog. And I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Well, they are, because then they sell you all the pharmaceuticals.
I just think
But then if they kill us all, then who's going to buy the food? That's the whole point of the article.
Fine balance.
Die. Who are they going to sell their deep fried chicken taco shells to? Like who? You know what I mean? So anyway, I'm in the process of ranting, so don't be surprised, girls, if I go off on you today. Well, not on you, but on
the society, the way we have it set up, just craziness.
Yeah, it's like they set us up for failure.
Yeah, that's the truth, sister.
Can you guys hear me?
I for one, am getting older, and I've had it.
Hold on, Christina. Hold on real quick. Lisa, keep going.
Can you hear me now?
Turn up more.
Yeah. It's all the way up.
I
don't know what's going on.
I don't know either.
Can you maybe hold it to your face like this, right by your...
How's that?
Yeah, it got better.
Okay, I will hold it. Everybody on Facebook, check it out.
Sorry about that. Alrighty, here we go.
You're listening to Andrea Beaman, Lisa Lewtan, and Michelle Pfennighaus with Healthy View Radio. Do you have a question or comment for the show? Please call us right now at 1-866-472-5792. That's 1-866-472-5792. Or send us an email from our Voice America radio page. You'll find connections to reach any of the hosts there. Now, back to Healthy View Radio.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Healthy View Radio. I am Lisa Lewtan, and I'm here with my co-hosts today, Michelle Pfennighaus and Andrea Beaman. If you want to hear me better, can you hear me better now? Those of you on Facebook, I might look a little silly, but I'm going to hold this mic super close. Anyway, I would like to thank our sponsor today, Vapor Organic Beauty. And look real close at my skin, because I am wearing their primer and their foundation. And those of you who know me, I am super, super picky about what I put on my face. Like really, really, really picky. And this is feeling really good. And I think it's looking pretty good. What do you think, guys?
Gorgeous. Wait, come closer. I want to look up your nostril.
There you go. What do you think? I mean, not too bad, right?
Not too bad.
I'm feeling pretty amazing in it. So this is it right here. There's these handy sticks for those of you who can see. Highly recommend it. Okay, if you would like to try out Vapor Beauty's products, go to vaporbeauty.com, and they spell it VAPOUR. That's vaporbeauty.com. And if you use the code HVR for Healthy View Radio, you will save 20%. Get there right now. No, after the show. After the show. I am so excited to introduce our guest, Christina Pirello, who Andrea said is one of her favorite people on the whole planet. So expectations are super high.
Yeah, but not only this planet, I think on other planets too, honey.
And no pressure here.
Yeah, no pressure.
Time out, you guys. Come on. For those of you just joining, Christina is one of America's preeminent authorities on a healthier lifestyle, utilizing natural and whole foods. And she's a host of the internationally respected TV show, Christina Cooks. Christina, welcome to our show.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
We are so happy that you're here. And we'd like to start every guest with a few personal questions to get to know you better. So, Christina, what did you have for breakfast today?
This morning I had millet porridge with little pearl onions and little pieces of winter squash and tofu and some steamed baby bok choy and kale.
Yum, I love this savory breakfast.
And pickled fennel. Wow, very nice.
See, this is like the first time someone tells us that they didn't have a smoothie for breakfast. I'm happy about this.
You know what? If I never even heard the word smoothie again, I would probably dance in the streets with joy.
I hear you.
Yes. Christina,
the way I see it is we finally get people eating kale and now they puree it into baby food. You know what I mean? It's like, need a break. But anyway, whatever gets you through the morning.
What is the one thing you do every day that has the greatest impact on your life?
The one thing I do every morning and also every night is I practice Qigong, and which balances the body's energy, and it changes the way I see what I'm facing in the day, the way I manage the day, and I cook every day.
And And what is your guilty pleasure?
Dark chocolate.
What percentage?
80. I don't like it much higher than 80 because then it's just too bitter, and sort of not worth it. But yeah, 80%. I like it to taste like chocolate, cocoa, but
I actually found a really good 90% one. If anybody wants to know, I'll tell you later.
I do.
Okay. The Lindt, 90%.
You don't get to say I found a really good one and then go, but that's right, I'm not going to say.
I don't want to steal your thunder. But the Lindt, 90%. I've tried every single one out there, 88 and higher, up to 100. And that one, it almost tastes a little too good, I have to admit.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, really good.
Well, yeah, the only thing that would stop me from buying it is my chocolate has to be fair trade too. So I have to check their chocolate practices before I have to tell you, I'm really tough. I'm really.
I want to hear all about it.
Yeah.
I've just so had it with what we do to food that I'm getting tougher and tougher to please. So anyway.
No, that's good. That's good. That's an inspiration because we need to be. I think we need to be a little tougher.
I think we have to be a little tougher. I think we have to stop literally swallowing what they feed us and demanding better. And if we don't demand better, they'll just keep doing it.
That is so true. So, Christina, what is your favorite quick, healthy meal?
Well, we're Italian, so I really have to say that my favorite healthy meal would involve pasta on some level. My favorite dinner to cook is lentil soup, pasta with tomato sauce, and a lovely salad with homemade bread. I mean, that's if I'm, on death row and they're asking what my final meal is, that's going to be it. I'm obsessed with lentils. I love pasta. It's in my DNA, and we balance it with salad. So that's it pretty much.
And what kind of pasta do you use when you make pasta?
I make it.
Ah.
Oh yeah, she's good. She's a pro.
So it's a durum whole wheat with a tiny bit of semolina in it, or I buy an Italian imported, whole durum wheat, or we use farro pasta, which we really, really like because it's whole grain, but it's lighter, even though the color is darker. A lot of the whole wheat pastas are just so heavy that most people have a hard time with them, including me. But farro pasta is lovely. Sometimes we go with gluten-free pastas, but not very often because, I don't know, we're Italian and it's like pasta is pasta. So we only eat it once a week, and that's our big that's my big indulgence, I must say, even more than chocolate is eating pasta once a week. So, yeah.
So I did read about you that you came from this big Italian family who cooked all the time. And did you ever imagine when you were growing up that you would have your own cooking show?
No, because I was the world's fussiest eater. And, the joke in our family, it's a terribly morbid joke, but the joke in our family is that my mother died young to get away from me because I was such a drag to cook for. And you couldn't put gravy on anything. I would eat, my pasta had to be in a bowl separate, and I would dip each little pasta piece into the tomato gravy that she made.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
I ate on a divided plate until I was 16 years old. I wouldn't eat meat. I wouldn't eat cheese. I wouldn't eat, I would eat cauliflower. Like that was my big thing. I would eat cauliflower and anything sweet. So, I grew up cooking all this food, but I would never eat it. And it's funny because my mother was exactly the same. My mother would cook all this lovely fresh food from the garden and then sit at the head of the table with coffee, a cigarette, and whatever chocolate was in the house. We had to eat it, but we'd eat Brussels sprouts, but she was, at the head of the table with coffee and a cigarette. So,
That's hysterical. So what changed your taste buds over time?
Actually, I have to be honest and say my taste buds didn't change until I was 26 and diagnosed with cancer. When I became a vegetarian at 14, I was a junk food vegetarian. Oreos are vegan. That was great. It was the greatest news I ever heard. And then, I kind of left home and ate that typical college student single woman diet of salad and ice cream and coffee.
I just had the ice cream without the salad.
Yeah, come on. And I left home. I remember like yesterday turning to my mother and saying, listen, you want to be chained to the stove for the rest of your life, I'm out. But meanwhile,
Wow.
I was a pastry chef, so like, I don't know how I thought I was out of the kitchen, but anyway. So, and I was working as a pastry chef, so I was around sweets all the time. And it wasn't until I was diagnosed and met Robert that he said, "Do you really understand anything about nutrition at all?" And I thought, that would probably be no. So I started studying, got my master's in nutrition, like did all the stuff that we have to do. And it wasn't until I gave up sugar cold turkey at 26 that I decided that food had a taste other than, you know, cardboard. I thought all vegetables tasted like cardboard. I thought nothing had flavor, but it's because I was so sugared out. Like I ate sugar every hour of every day unless I was sleeping. So that's when I really discovered that food was amazing. Not only, and I have to say, I kind of came in backwards, right? So food was always amazing because of its therapeutic healing properties. Then I discovered it was also delicious. So then I'm a late bloomer.
I don't think so. I don't think that's late at all. I think that's,
so, you know, kind of, and then I started traveling to Europe and discovering that they had a totally different view of food than we do. And then it just kind of, everything snowballed from there, to be honest.
So I think that's really an important point because I see that all the time when people do get sugar out of their system, all of a sudden vegetables taste really different to them. So all of you listeners out there, huge important fact. Christina, when you gave up the sugar though, did you ever go back? Did you slip, or that was just it? You were done?
Well, for the first month that I gave it up, because I had to give it up cold turkey. I mean, you have to remember that they gave me 6 months. So I kind of didn't have time to mess around with a gradual transition because I was gradually transitioning out of here. So I gave it up cold turkey. And for the first month, Andrea will laugh because she knows me well enough to know that I mean exactly what I'm about to say, which is I wanted to smack the crap out of everybody I saw eating something sweet because I wasn't, and I was in such withdrawal, and I was so cranky and ticked off that I couldn't have anything sweet. But after that month was over, and it was almost like a magical switch went off. About a month later, I thought, my God, I was completely enslaved to an ingredient. I must be out of my mind. And for the longest time, I was, you know, nothing at all. No fruit juice, like nothing that had added sugar, nothing. And then I actually went 10 years without chocolate.
Wow.
And then, I know, it's like a life sentence. And then my best friend in the world made chocolate chip cookies using brown rice syrup and, you know, dark, unsweetened chocolate. And she said to me, have a cookie. And I, you know, when people have like reformed their ways and they're tiny bit self-righteous, I said, I don't eat chocolate. And she said, yeah, you're a pain in my butt. Have a cookie. She was right. And then I discovered that, you know, you could have little tastes of things or, you know, you live by the European 3-bite rule and you don't suddenly go back into that enslavement and you're not suddenly involved in insulin triggers. And, you know, over the years, I've done a lot of sort of reflection on how can Italian women and men walk around Italy, because I spend a lot of time there, and eat pastry every day. Diabetes isn't really high. They're not fat. And you're like, what is up with this? And then it took some research, but they live by what I now call the 3-bite rule, which is your brain doesn't taste sweet after 3 bites. So every dessert in Europe is teeny tiny. It's 3 bites. They enjoy it with a sip of tea or coffee. They're on their way. They don't think about it because they don't eat so much sugar that it makes them go from the sugar to the baked potato to the macaroni and cheese to the cookie to the chips. And it's a really interesting phenomenon that I've seen now for years and live by. So even if I'm not eating my own desserts and I'm out and friends order something that looks amazing, I'm good after a bite or two.
That's amazing. I think a lot of people would love to hear that. And then I think for many of us, stopping at 3 bites is super hard, especially like I watched one of your videos.
It's probably easier to give up crack than sugar.
Yeah.
It was brutal. It was brutal. I can't say one not horrible thing about it. It was horrible. I wouldn't do it again. Like I wouldn't get addicted to sugar again because I wouldn't want to go through that again. But everybody should do it. That sounds terrible. I don't want to scare anybody off. Everybody should give it up. Just give it up for a month and see where you're at. It's not the end of your life. It's only a month. It's a really long month. But
Really long month.
you're
Hey,
so
Christina.
different afterwards. I can't stress enough how different you are afterwards.
Hey, Christina, I heard you talk about the pasta, and I think a lot of people are probably like, oh, she eats pasta every week, and she calls herself a healthy eater, so that's probably pretty
I
shocking.
know. She eats carbs, evil carbs.
I know, but I wanted to ask you about dairy because about 11 or 12 years ago, I was real sick with sinus infections. I had never had a healthy meal in my life, I don't think. I've turned on the TV in a feverish state, and I saw your show, and you talked about how dairy can create mucus in the body. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going through about a tissue box every hour. I better listen to this. And it really was my first step towards changing my diet, I got to tell you. So thank you. And do you eat dairy?
Wow. So what do I think about, you want to know what I think about dairy?
Once
I
a
think
week?
next to chemicals, it's the most unnatural food for a human to consume unless you're nursing from your mother, right? Every species that makes milk, which we then turn into a variety of dairy products, every species that makes milk for that baby to grow, a baby cow, a baby goat, a baby sheep, a baby rabbit. You don't see rabbits walking down the street with their babies going, hey, that woman over there is nursing. Go grab a sip while you're at it. Like,
Christina, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but we're coming up to the break, and I want listeners to know how they can learn more about you.
Oh, they could just go to the website, ChristinaCooks.com.
Great. Awesome. Well,
Well, also follow you on Facebook because come on, girl, you put up some biscotti that, my mouth waters every time I see it.
Twitter, Instagram, it's all Christina Cooks. You can find everything about me on Christina Cooks, Pinterest, all of it.
and YouTube. I was watching some of your videos on YouTube too. Don't leave
Yes,
that.
we're finally putting some effort into the YouTube channel.
Well, it was awesome. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, it was my pleasure. Lovely to talk to you guys.
Thanks, Christina.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye. So after the break, we are going to be speaking with Kenn Israel from Zahler's. You know, the ones we've been raving about every week with their supplements. We'll be back shortly. Take care.
All clear?
We'll be back shortly.
Good morning, ladies.
Hi there.
Hi, Ken.
How are you?
We're
Good. How
well.
are you?
Excellent. Thank you.
We are live on Facebook right now, so
We
some
got a
folks
minute
can
till we
hear
come back.
you on Facebook. But
I
yes,
was
1 minute
watching,
until the
so
show
I've seen you guys.
All right, then you know what's going on.
And Lisa
do.
loves your vitamin D, by the way.
I do. I love your
Thank you
vitamin D
very
and B12.
Very cool.
All right, so Ken, I'm Michelle, and I'm going to be taking you through this interview, and it's a pretty short segment, so I've got a bunch of questions for you. We'll see how many we can cover, but if you keep your answers succinct, we'll get through more of them.
Okay, I'll be brief and passionate.
I love it. That's like the world in a nutshell, right? Everything's got to be brief and passionate in the social media world.
That's right. Soundbite with passion.
20 seconds.
Or according to A-Rod, 10 seconds, 5 seconds, 2 seconds, 3 seconds.
There we go.
It's coming. Maybe.
I can't wait to read Christina's new blog.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll link to that too.
Let them have it. Let them have it.
Like they're trying to kill us.
They're trying
Alrighty.
to kill us. True.
Sorry to interrupt. Here we go.
You're listening to Andrea Beaman, Lisa Lewtan, and Michelle Pfennighaus with Healthy View Radio. Do you have a question or comment for the show? Please call us right now at 1-866-472-5792. That's 1-866-472-5792. Or send us an email from our Voice America radio page. You'll find connections to reach any of the hosts there. Now, back to Healthy View Radio.
Welcome back to Healthy View Radio. I am Michelle Pfennighaus, and I'm here with my lovely co-hosts, Andrea Beaman and Lisa Lewtan. And in today's show, we've been talking about our favorite ways to be efficient in the kitchen and have some fun with healthy cooking. Now, of course, even when you're eating healthy, it is entirely possible that you could be low in key nutrients. So, for example, if you have plants grown in nutrient-poor soil, getting sprayed with chemicals, and they're just barely growing anything green in the first place, that's going to be a less nutritious food for you to be eating. Or maybe you eat really nutrient-dense food, but if your body isn't able to properly digest it and absorb those nutrients, it's not what you eat, it's what you absorb. So there could be a problem with the nutrients that you're taking in that way too. So I would like to introduce you all to Kenn Israel, the brain behind Zahler's vitamins. And we're going to learn a thing or two today, you guys. I can feel it because let me read this bio to you. Kenn Israel is known for his encyclopedic ingredients, industry knowledge, and uncompromised integrity as the leading nutritional formulator for Zahler's and the brain behind each product. Kenn has introduced dozens of new products into the natural products market, including new ingredients for the U.S., new technologies, and new delivery concepts, and has successfully led numerous companies from start to growth with his incredible knowledge in the nutritional field and beyond. So Kenn, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's really good to be here today.
We're so glad to have you. And I'm sure many of our listeners are unsure right off the bat about whether or not they need to take supplements. So even if they do, what kind, how much? What are your recommendations for figuring all that out?
I was listening to your segment before this, and I've always been passionate about food as well. And one of my favorite food authors is Michael Pollan. And his idea is around food, when he was asked to sum it up, is eat not too much, mostly plants. And I think the same idea really should hold true with our supplements. Do we need supplements? Absolutely. Do we need mega doses of everything every day? Probably not. A conservative approach, but one that supports a solid nutritional foundation that makes up for the weaknesses in our diets or addresses our biochemical individuality is really important. And I don't think any of us these days get enough plant-based bioactives in our diet. And this is an area that we at Zahler are really passionate about.
So how might someone know that they are, they're thinking, oh, I eat some vegetables every day, I'm probably good. Like, what do you think is an indicator that they may not be good?
Excellent question. The USDA, United States Department of Agriculture, which is a fairly conservative organization, feels that 5+5 is the baseline, the absolute minimum, which means a minimum of 5 servings of fresh fruits and a minimum of 5 servings of fresh vegetables. And unfortunately, most of us don't get there. We also need to be eating whole grains and other plant-based foods. You want plant-based proteins like beans. Again, most of us don't accomplish this minimal level of nutrition. So absolutely making up for those for those missing elements. And they could be things as simple as activated forms of folic acid and vitamins. Most people are deficient or depleted with magnesium. Vitamin D depletion and deficiency is more common than it isn't. Most people don't have enough. So there's lots of ground rules. If one really wants to find out, speaking to a naturopathic physician, doing some metabolic testing, and even looking at your DNA and finding out how you metabolize are great guideposts to what do you need.
Okay, that's a good point. We can always go get blood work done. You can also look at your fingernails for little white spots. That would indicate a zinc deficiency. There's little, I'm sure Andrea could tell you just by looking at your face, all kinds of vitamins you're deficient in. But
I can't believe human beings are alive. I got to tell you.
But we are robust creatures. There's
yes
about that. But just being here versus achieving one's optimal state of vitality are two very different things. And, I'm not the kind of person that settles. I don't think any of us are. And making sure we have the bare minimum, the RDA, if you will, versus enough to really get the most out of life and to contribute to one's families, to your communities. There's a big difference there. And I don't see how that can be done without supplemental nutrition these days.
Hey, Ken, I have a question for you. I recommend that my clients rotate on and off supplements, because the majority of them will just take supplements all year round for 5 years or 10 years. And I tell them, listen, take it for 3 months and give your body a month break, and then take it for 3 months and give your body another month break, to help use up any excess that may be. What do you think about that?
I agree with you if a person's using really high doses of individual nutrients. I think that's probably a good idea. That said, there are some bioactives, some nutrients that people need pretty much all the time and that don't have a long period of resonance in the body. So the components of a well thought out multivitamin, incredibly important. Omega-3 fatty acids, what one would get from fresh fish or a dietary supplement, those are really important as well. And some minerals like magnesium, very tough to maintain optimal levels in the body. So yes to what you're saying, there are times where you want to rotate off, and maybe during the summertime when you're getting lots of fresh fruits and fresh veg, you don't need those folic acid supplements quite as much unless you're expecting. But there's a certain wisdom to what you're saying. Yes.
So what makes Zahler's products different than any of the other brands out there?
Well, there's a whole bunch of factors. First of all, we we comply with rules that go above and beyond the basic FDA requirements. We are a OU kosher company. So there's direct rabbinic supervision. And frankly, most of the companies that are willing to allow a rabbi into their facility are companies that really have their act together in terms of manufacturing. There's plenty of facilities that are kind of like black boxes, and you put your money in and you get your vitamins out the back door. And those are the ones we stay away from. And there's those that welcome us with an open door and allow us and our rabbis into the facility to oversee and supervise every aspect of the production process. The team at Zahler is also committed to quality, and our ingredient selections, the actual forms of the nutrients that we use, typically are different, and I'm going to say better than what one finds in some of the more mainstream products. Some of the big mainstream brands are very well made. They're beautifully executed, that you're getting exactly what you're paying for. But what you're paying for is really not a lot with some of these mainstream products. At Zahler, we're allowed to really look at how the body works, address that functionality, and formulate against the body's functionality to make sure that the product supports optimal function. And then we also use forms of nutrients that really make a difference. Our prenatal is a great example. We're using metabolically active forms of B vitamins, not the easy, less expensive to make forms. So the result is your body doesn't have to work as hard to use the nutrients.
We're getting a question over here on Facebook that I'm going to pass to you. Again, Sharon's asking, Do you have any thoughts on the spore probiotics that are starting to crop up in the market?
We're very much involved in the probiotic space, and we're constantly looking at this category. Frankly, there's more research being published here than the rest of nutrition all combined. And the future is going to probably be a space where probiotics are highly specialized ingredients that address specific systems in the body for specific outcomes. The flora that exists in one's stomach for digestion are very different than the ones that support immune function, that are different than the ones that, say, support a healthy mouth or sinuses or cognitive function. There's so many different applications. So yes, we're looking at a lot of these categories. We've included some of the more advanced spore form probiotics because of their resistance to heat and moisture, their stability, and their proven ability to provide benefits for digestive wellness and immune function and blood lipid wellness. So there's the spore form probiotics are absolutely coming on strong. They're very, very interesting. There's a couple strains that we're working with and a couple that we're considering working with.
Very interesting. And I'm also curious to ask you about fish oil. First of all, does it live up to the hype? I know there's some controversy about that. And I'm also always worried about the idea of the fish oil being contaminated with mercury and such.
Well, these are great questions. Does fish oil live up to the hype? You know, over 6,000 published clinical trial reports and peer-reviewed papers is not hype. It's accepted science. It's fact. You know, arguing against flat Earth is arguing that, or arguing for flat Earth would be arguing against the nutritional necessity of EPA and DHA from fish or plant sources. I'm going to include those because it's something we're looking at as we move forward. As far as toxins in the fish oil, I think this was an issue decades back. If one looks at the reviews, third-party reviews of the broad swath of fish oil products and our products specifically, you'll find that we comply with the most rigorous standards on the planet for low levels or no levels of heavy metals like mercury, lead, cadmium, and arsenic, pesticide residues, oxidized fats, anisodine, lipid peroxides, what have you. So we maintain a very, very rigorous quality regimen for these products. We're extraordinarily selective about which vendors we work with. We have the advantage of kosher production and also concentration with our oils. The lipids that we sell tend to be more concentrated than some of the mass market options. So you can get away with taking less pills and you get more benefits.
Terrific. And where can our listeners go to find Zahler's products online?
Well, you know, I personally shop for them on Swanson's and iHerb. If you have an Aikens or a Chamberlain's nearby, those are great outlets for them. And then also some of the fine markets in Brooklyn and surrounding communities, they do a beautiful job supporting us.
Okay. Thank you so much for being with us today, Kenn, and answering some of those tough questions. We appreciate it.
Absolutely a pleasure. Thank you for having me today.
Take care. So you guys, I want to hear from you, Lisa and Andrea, what your big takeaway has been from this episode. What do you want listeners to remember?
Well, like I'm looking at the Facebook feed and Clara wrote in, she wrote great testimony on how eating habits can be life-changing. So Christina is a testament to that, right? All of us here have altered our diet in some way to transform our health. So I think that, you know, like healthy cooking hacks, great. Get whatever you need to get into the kitchen, but get in there. Don't let it be an excuse. I don't have time for this, because what do you have? All we have in life is time, and your quality of your life and how much time you have is directly related to what you're putting in to your face, your face, your ears, your eyes, right? What are you taking in? So please be conscious. You know, that's my takeaway. Please be conscious, because eating habits can be life-changing.
And I would just like to say that, you know, the whole sugar issue, Christina had to drastically give up the sugar to improve her health. But the truth is the sugar is hurting all of our health. And even reducing the sugar in our lives is so huge. And I have helped hundreds and hundreds of people get off sugar, at least for a break. And everything that Christina said is totally true. Vegetables taste totally different. It opens your eyes to what healthy, delicious food can be. So if you're thinking about doing that, I totally say go for it. At least take a little break and see how it feels.
All right. Now, I don't know if it's the same Clara, but I want to give a shout out to Clara, who left us a 5-star review on iTunes. And this is what she wrote. She wrote, "The information you all bring to the table is so needed. I truly look forward to your show weekly. You all share loads of great healthy information that can be put into action and have great results thereafter." Well, Clara, you are awesome, and we do hope that you have great results. Anyone else who would like a shout out on the air, head on over to healthyviewradio.com/. review to leave a written review on iTunes. Thank you for that. And thanks for joining us for this week's Healthy View Radio. We'll be back next Thursday, live streaming at healthyviewradio.com. We'll see you then.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
All clear?
Thanks, A-Rod.